Good morning.
Good morning. Do you hear me?
Yes, I can.
So according to my computer, it says that that there's no video. Do you see me?
Yes.
Okay, so my computer lied. That's good. 'Cause keeps telling me there's no picture and there's no face. And I'm like, why not? I'm glad you see one. How are you?
Yes. I'm doing well.
Excellent.
Good morning.
Oh, Pamela.
Good morning.
The Worcester.
Myra,
Yes.
your voice is very soft. So,
Oh, okay, wait. I think I have a way to fix that. Do you hear me now?
yes, yes. And
Is it
I think it was just where
where
your
the mic
microphone
was?
was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And so we have our
We're,
two guests who are here for the variance have
oh,
joined us.
I thought they're coming later.
Well, I think we will. Things have gotten flopped around quite a bit. So um, we're going to begin with Representative Mindy Dom,
Right.
and then when she concludes, then we'll go into the variance request because originally we thought she was, I don't know, things have gotten moved around a bit, but we're glad that you're able to join us today.
So
So
it'll be probably a half an hour,
yeah,
I would say.
yeah,
Right? Yeah.
that's my best guess. And then um, uh, Amy is also going to hang out and just pop in when we're Amy Ruzicki from the DPW. So
Ah, okay, cool. Hi, Amy. Is she still there? Is she there?
she's probably here, but off camera.
Got it. Okay. The Worcester document,
Mhm.
that's a PDF. Um, you are going to have to convert it to Word to change it, right?
Right. So,
So
and
when you convert it, can you send it out so we can make suggestions? Because right now it's very hard for me to read it.
okay. S-
Um,
and Representative Dom has just joined us.
oh, fabulous.
Right.
We
So
don't have anybody else from the commission, though.
no, no. Reginald is here as well.
Oh,
So
yay. Hi, Reg.
yeah.
Morning.
All right.
Good morning. And I guess Ian will not be here.
Ian will
So
not be
we
here.
we need one more person for a quorum, and hopefully we will have more than that.
Right. So
Hi, Mindy.
Hi, Myra. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Okay, thank you.
As okay as a person can be right now. Let's put it that way.
Yep. About a year ago, somebody said to me, it's okay to say you're okay, and it's also okay to follow it with, but I'm really angry because so
Yeah, well,
you
that
can
list is too long.
so you can
mm,
give both feelings sort of.
Yeah,
yeah.
just as okay as I can be, because the list is too long.
Okay. Uh,
And we're missing people still.
right. So I was just gonna just advise everyone that in order for us to have a quorum, we need at least four members, four voting members. I am a voting member, so we're currently at three. As soon as we get a fourth person, I will read the intro and we will get the meeting started. And we have our fourth here, Saren.
Okay,
So,
we normally don't have trouble getting a quorum. So,
right, right. So we have a quorum now because Saren just joined
yay.
us.
Okay.
All right. All right. So the Commission for Persons with Disabilities is meeting virtually pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025, extended through June 30th of 2027. The ability of public bodies to meet in a fully remote or hybrid manner. Members of the public who wish to access the meeting may do so via Zoom or via telephone. Um, and we will try to uh, provide every effort for members of the public to fully engage with the meeting in real time via technological means. So we normally begin our meeting with a roll call followed by old business and new business. Pursuant to our agenda, we're likely to adjust the agenda today to accommodate the various items that we have. So we're going to begin the agenda after the roll call with a Representative Mindy Dom, and then we will skip to new business to the variance application for the Jones Library. So members from the Feingold Alexander from the firm, if you can either, you're welcome to stay and listen to the first part of the meeting, or if you want to go off camera and you're welcome to do that as well. We're anticipating that'll probably be about a half an hour for Representative Dom, and then we'll go directly in to the variance application. So with
I think
that,
we'll go off camera if that's okay, but we'll be here in case you
okay,
finish early.
sure, that's fine.
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
you. Mhm. Um, so with that said, I can turn it over to our chair to do the roll call, and we'll get started. And we now have Jim and Cody, so all the
Oh,
members
fabulous.
are
Okay,
are here. Mhm.
okay. So, because Representative Dom is here, and I don't know if she knows all of us, I think we should announce ourselves with more than just a first name, or a first and last name. If you want to tell Representative Dom something about you that would help her understand who's on the commission, that would be great, as long as we can do it quickly. All right, I'm Myra Ross. I'm the chair, and Mindy knows me, so I don't need to say more about me. Jim?
Hi, I'm Jim Credenier. Was the executive director at Stavros for many, many years. Hi, Mindy.
Okay,
Good to see
Saren?
you, Jim.
This is Saren. Hi, Mindy.
Hi,
Mindy,
Sarah.
my daughter's dog and Mindy's dogs are best friends.
Okay. Well, people know
It's
each
true.
other in lots of ways.
It's true. And I like Maggie too. I'm just saying.
Oh, that's so funny. Okay, Cody.
Hi, I'm Cody. Rooney. Um, I'm a person with a disability, and I would get into what I do, but we will be here all day. I do a lot.
Well, that's a good intro, Cody. All right. Um, let's see who else is there. Oh, uh, wait, Reg,
Reggie.
Reg.
Hello, Reggie Andre. I work for the Disability Services Office here at University of Massachusetts Amherst. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to
Mhm.
meet
And
And
Pamela.
I am Pamela, so you know I'm the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, and pursuant to the Commonwealth statute that established this commission, I'm also a voting member of the commission.
you. Great.
And I will toot Cody's horn by saying that he won a statewide award for his work with disabilities. I think it was just last year. So,
Very cool.
yeah.
All right. So
Congratulations.
we had one agenda item brought by Ian, who was unable to be here because of a death in his family yesterday. But I sent Mindy a statement that Ian had sent to me and Pamela and Jim, that expresses his feelings about the, I don't know what the bill is called anymore. It was originally the bill to ban mask bans, and this committee voted to support that bill. But I thought that it would be important for us to hear from Mindy about your position on it now, and whether we wanted to adjust anything that we think, or give her any feedback about the bill. And then Mindy has some other bills that she has introduced, which sound like we could be here all day, just like Cody said, just hearing about these bills. So it's going to be an outline, I guess, but we might want to get more involved with some of them. So the floor is yours, Mindy.
Thank you, Myra, very much. And thank you, everybody, for inviting me. I want to say just a couple of things, not about legislation, but about the commission. I am so thrilled that this commission exists. When it was established, I was like, this is just terrific. I want you to know that I'm here for you to advocate with, partner with, support your efforts, whatever I can do. Please reach out to me and continue to reach out to me, and tell me what you want me to do. I will either join you in that, or if there's a reason why I feel I can't, I'll explain myself. We can have that conversation. You can try to persuade me. We can agree that we're going to be on different sides of something, but at least we'll be engaged together. And this is like a critical issue for me. So I'm thrilled to be partnering with you, at least for this morning. I also want to thank you for putting up with the scheduling gymnastics in my office for me to get here, because I know
No problem.
I was scheduled several times and it had to be canceled. And today, actually, there was something happening in Boston, and they said, "Are you going?" I said, "Absolutely not." They're like, "Well, you can take the Zoom call from Boston." I'm not risking it. I'm going to take the Zoom call from Amherst. So I really am grateful. I promise it won't be that hard to schedule us in the future. It just so happened that it just kept falling on days when we had hearings that I either chair, so I had to be there, or other pressing matters that I could not do virtually from Amherst. I had to be in person at the same time. Okay, so thank you. So I've been in touch with Ian about this bill. I also was in touch with Myra about this bill, and I don't know, is there a way for me to put anything in the chat? I know I don't see a chat function here. Is there?
There's not a chat
think we have
function
one.
for the webinars or for
Okay.
the recorded meetings, but I can give you the ability to screen share if you'd like to do that.
That's okay. I'll send you, I think, the link. I'll send it to both Pamela and Myra after this meeting, the link to the legislation. So at least you
Mhm.
can see what the legislation is. And meanwhile, if it's okay, Pamela, I'm a novice at this screen sharing thing. I'm afraid I'll lose everybody. I can at least talk about the bill and give you the bill number and the title and what it says. Okay.
That's
So
great.
the bill that he's concerned about is H 1981. Actually, is an important year for me. It's when I graduated college, but and it's called an act relative to the right to wear personal protective medical equipment. So the first thing I need to say about this bill is I am totally in support of people being able to mask for health reasons, and not necessarily for health diagnosis reasons. It could be for health concern reasons. It could be because they're on medication that's immune suppressive and there's a bad flu out there and they want to take care of themselves. It could be for COVID concerns, flu concerns, measles concerns, name the infectious disease that our government's sort of turning away from. I completely support people's right to wear it and to keep it on. However, this bill I felt went a little bit beyond just that. And I just want to read to you. So in bills, when they use a term, the first thing they have to do is define the term. And this is actually where I got kind of caught up in assessing my co-sponsorship of the bill at this time. So the bill defines personal medical equipment as equipment that is worn to minimize exposure to health risks, that's fine, which includes but not limited to face masks, respirators, gloves, face shields, protective eyewear, and gowns. And when my staff and I started doing the research to find out, so what do we know about discrimination based on respirator use, protective gowns. There was nothing. So I'm not sure, quite honestly, and I don't necessarily support adding them into the bill when there's been no documentation that A, there's a problem, or B, that someone wants to wear a respirator or a gown in public and is being prevented from doing it. We know that's the case with masks. We know that, in fact, people have been told they can't wear a mask in certain situations, but the other pieces of this equipment, and it could have been easily sort of eliminated. It could just been refers to masks, face masks, and I would have gone on it immediately. So that being said, I've refrained from co-sponsoring it, and the bill right now is still in committee. If that bill came before us on the floor of the House, I'd vote for it because it includes a piece that I support. But I didn't feel like I could co-sponsor it because it also includes pieces that I can't support. So I wanted to see, what does the committee do? Does the committee take out these other pieces and then advance a bill that just has masks? Or does the committee, which is the Judiciary Committee, it's a pretty smart committee full of lawyers, do they look at it and say, yeah, we can include these other pieces? And that to me might also be compelling. But I'm going to wait and see what the committee does as it comes out of committee. And I'm happy to take questions, concerns, and opposition to my view, if you want to have that conversation.
Does anyone have anything that pressing on the subject that you'd like to share?
I'd like to, if it is the concern that Mindy has with gowns and special kind of clothing, right? So if it is included in the bill, what harm would that happen? Why do you have questions about it?
I guess I don't know that there's any purpose to it. And I don't really, I mean, that's why if it came out of committee with that, Saren, and it
Yeah,
came before me for a vote, I'd vote in favor of it because it had gone through the vetting process of the committee
yeah,
looking at it and looking at it from all sides. When we did preliminary research on it, I couldn't find any instance where this was actually a problem that needed to be solved by legislation. So it looked to me like the legislation was creating a problem to be solved, at least in those areas. Facial masks, I don't think is the case. And I noticed that
no.
I had
Yes,
a chance to read Ian's email. I'm not worried about this being confused with ICE because I think that's a whole different kind of
yeah,
situation. I feel like we should be able to ban certain forms, I'm going to say law enforcement, but they're not law enforcement, they're immigration enforcement from wearing masks and hiding their identity. To me,
yeah, that's another,
that's a public safety
yeah,
effort. So I don't think my concern with this bill isn't because it would prevent us from exercising our authority about with my ICE. My concern is that it's not really quite overreach in the definition, but by creating that definition, it feels to me, at least from my research, they're creating a problem and then saying, here's the solution. But I'm more in favor of creating solutions for problems that we know already exist.
mm,
But like I said, it's going to go through the committee process. And the beauty of the committee process, even though I know some folks have taken objection to it, is that, they'll vet it. They're going to in their public hearing, they probably got testimony in support and opposed. Their staff, judiciary staff is incredible. And they have probably reached out to find out more information about gowns, goggles, respirators, as well as face masks. Face masks is obvious because there's a lot of, you can Google it and you see there's a lot of efforts around preventing people from wearing it, bullying people who are wearing it, shaming people who are wearing it, all those kinds of things. Um, the other things, not so much. So I don't want to do something that has a unintended consequence for a problem that doesn't necessarily exist.
It almost seems to me like it might be a dilution of the fact that it's really about masks. If you put all those other things in, sometimes people get all upset about fringe issues that really don't have anything to do with the whole purpose of it. So I think um, I hear you. And it would, for me, I would like to be targeted at the problem. You
Yeah, and
don't
you
you
know,
don't need solutions in search of a problem.
and there's a lot of forms, and we can talk about this in a moment in terms of other legislation that I have. There is discrimination, right, against people with disabilities. We know that. And it takes a lot of different forms in different settings. I feel like we have to be very targeted with what we do with that. So, for example, masks and disability discrimination, absolutely focus on that. I have another bill that looks to prevent discrimination against people with disabilities in the healthcare setting. That's a real issue, right? Doctors either choosing to identify or not identify certain courses of treatment based on people's disabilities, how they talk to people, all of it. Um, so, but those are real problems that have been documented, right? Documented by people's experience as well as by academic studies. I think we got enough problems. We don't have to necessarily create problems.
Around what you just proposed, in a way, I hope that that one could be expanded to include accessibility of documents and forms that need to be completed, because at least a lot of people with vision issues go into doctors. They give you a paper form that you can't fill out. Um, are you there?
I am. I'm
Okay.
listening.
My computer just made a weird noise. I'm sorry.
I'm making a
Okay.
note of what you're saying, Myra, because I don't think that is included, but there's an opportunity for us to continue to amend that bill.
You go into offices, they give you paper documents. Hold on, my computer is doing weird things. All right, I just shut it up. Um, so, and sometimes they give you assistance filling it out. Sometimes they assume that you brought someone with you, which you may or may not have. Um, I had an experience one time where they handed me an iPad and I turned on voiceover on the iPad and I filled it out.
Mm.
And it was amazing. And it was the way it was supposed to be, but that's not the way it is often. When you go to have a blood test at many healthcare facilities, they have a little kiosk at which you're supposed to sign in. There are no people manning the place anymore. It's actually true in the big Bay State building down in Springfield. All they have is this little kiosk, which you need to find somehow. And then you need to be able to put your name and everything into it. And then they call you to get your blood test, only it's not accessible. And there isn't anybody there whose job it is to help you fill out the, you know, go to the kiosk. So I think that there are a lot of things, especially with automation, with all the new technology and, getting rid of personnel in favor of technology. The technology is often not accessible. And I think it's really important for medical facilities to be aware that there are people who cannot use the technology for whatever reason. Maybe they don't speak English well enough. Maybe they don't have any, even if they have vision, they don't have enough proficiency. You get people who are in their 80s coming in, they don't necessarily know how to use all the technology that they don't already use. So I think it gets very um, isolating and discriminatory. And sometimes they actually want you to fill out the form when you're standing there and they ask you all these personal questions when you're in the middle of a big room, which is also not okay. So I think there's a lot to be added about privacy and uh, access.
Well, that bill is in the second committee that's hearing it, which is called Healthcare Financing. And I promise that this week, my office will communicate with them as they deliberate that bill, that this has
Cool.
been brought to our attention, the need for accessibility and information and materials, and that could be, if that could be added in as they advance. They haven't decided they're going to advance the bill, but hopefully they will advance the bill. That would be helpful. Let me tell you what the bill does do, though. It
Okay.
prohibits any healthcare provider from withholding medical treatment from an individual with a disability or chronic health condition based on the assumption that their disability makes their life less valuable, because that's sometimes the formula that's used. It would also prohibit healthcare providers from deprioritizing people with disabilities in the distribution of resources during a crisis. This is coming right from people's experience during COVID. And finally, it protects those individuals with disabilities from being pressured into signing DNR orders. So there were a lot of instances during COVID where people with disabilities who were in hospital settings and other healthcare settings kind of were being sort of pushed down the list of people who should be getting access to certain healthcare. So this bill came from that experience. But I will also add this because obviously it's not just COVID, it's all the time. Um, if I can, I'm just going to talk about a couple of other bills that I have that are sitting there. And then I just want to report to you on the fact that two bills have become law. And I'm looking at the time because Pamela said that I think I'm getting the cane at noon. So I'm going to try and talk kind of fast. So the other bill that I have in that actually is in House Ways and Means right now, which is a great thing. I have two bills that are in House Ways and Means that are really good bills. The first one is called H2403, and it establishes a consumer advisory board for the Human Service Transportation Network. I'm not sure how many of you or how many people who may be watching this take the HST service. That's the service that a van will come and pick somebody up, maybe to bring them to a medical appointment or a social service appointment. And there were a lot of problems with this service. A couple years ago, the then Governor Baker changed the way the system was from being in like each county to a consolidated kind of service. One service takes care of like three-quarters of the state, and another service takes care of mostly the Boston and eastern part of the state. And then people were starting to have a lot of problems. I was appointed to a special commission that would look at what were the problems with the HST program and how could they be solved. And I was there with another legislator, a senator from the Cape. And one thing that became really clear was that the users of the service, the consumers of the service, not only could identify all the problems with the service, but they could also provide creative, innovative, inexpensive solutions to each one. And that what we were doing in this commission should be formalized in statute. And I come, as many of you know, from the HIV world. And in the HIV world, having a consumer advisory board was sort of like, a given because, of course, people living with HIV would understand what the problems were that they were encountering better than other people, and they might have solutions. And so we just applied sort of that experience to this particular network. That bill, we filed it, I think last year might have been the first year we filed it, but it's advanced and it's in Ways and Means, and I'm hoping that we can get that voted on. Because one, it doesn't cost more money, and this year budgets are going to be tight, but also because it's the right thing to do. Consumers should have a formal role in sharing information about what needs to happen to consumer-based service. The other bill that I filed in the House that's also in Ways and Means is the Blue Envelope Bill, and I don't know if you're familiar with this. Um, Actually, I think the Amherst police already do this, where and the state police already do it. It's an idea that came from actually the UMass Amherst campus. Students um, and the UMass police came up with this idea that when people with autism or other kinds of intellectual developmental disabilities may be stopped by the police, police need to know that, if they start yelling at the person, if they start talking to them in a certain way, the harsh tones, whatever, that there may be a higher sensitivity to it. And so kind of train the police to sort of probably treat everybody this way, but at least to treat folks who have a blue envelope with more sensitivity and more knowledge. And it's been shown to be very effective, both for the drivers and the police. Uh, Police who are using it think it's great. They've learned a lot about how to work with people in a different way. And it's also de-escalated situations right away so that you kind of put your license in this. So when the police stop a person, they go, can I see your license? The person or their driver can hand their license over in this blue envelope. And that's a signal to the police um, that there's a person in the car to be more sensitive to and to use that training. And I'm thrilled that that's in Ways and Means. It's already passed the Senate this year, so we really need to get it through the House so that we can get it a little bit closer to the finish line. There's also the preventing discrimination in healthcare settings. And then there's a whole bunch of other kinds of bills that definitely affect people with disabilities, but are not specific to people with disabilities, except for two that have already become law this session. One was a bill that's been around for decades, which would remove all objectionable language from the Massachusetts general laws that addresses people with intellectual or developmental disabilities and replaces it with appropriate language. And that passed. So our laws will no longer say use bad words, naughty words to describe people. The second law that passed, that was just signed by the governor within the past month, is a bill that I co-filed with my colleague, the great Sean Garbely, which basically changed document release kind of criteria for records regarding people with disabilities in state hospitals. So some of you may know it's been like impossible to get those documents out so that academics, family members, friends, neighbors, communities can actually examine what has Massachusetts history been with people with disabilities in state institutions writ large and also with very in particular instances. And this law changes it so that they can be released under certain circumstances, but it gets us closer to making the history of disabled folks in Massachusetts more visible. And I'm really proud that that's now law. We can see how this works. It's based on a recommendation that came out of a special commission on this. And if it needs to be tweaked, maybe it'll be easier to tweak it than it was to actually get it passed. One more thing, I think 11:58. I got 2 more minutes, Pamela. The other thing I just want to point out is it's not just about legislation, because as you know, it's also about budget. There is a bill, though, I just want to point out to you, the wheelchair repair bill is in House Ways and Means.
Yeah.
That means all the advocacy has to be on Ways and Means to bring it to the floor for a vote. And I think this is the year to get that done, especially given the fact that Donald Trump has lifted the airline's responsibilities on wheelchair, like on when airlines mess with people's wheelchairs, and he's removed their liability for that. I think now we definitely have to make sure that we're setting good guardrails for repairs so that people don't have to go without their wheelchair for way too long a time. But the budget's coming up, and things that get funded in the budget that will be of interest to you, roads and sidewalks in Chapter 90, that'll happen later on, absolutely, because sidewalks is where curb cuts come in. In Centers for Independent Living get funded by the annual budget. Disability rights and legal intervention gets funded by the budget. And a group that I have been honored to file the amendment for the past several sessions is Requipment, which many of you may know is the program that refurbishes wheelchairs and other forms of durable medical equipment so that when one person's done with it, another person gets to use it. This organization I just think is phenomenal what they do. And they benefit so many people across the Commonwealth. And we've been trying to make sure that in the budget, they stay at the $500,000 mark for years. So we'll continue that effort. But if you're interested in budget items, get in touch with me. You can get in touch with me now, and I'll just direct you to the organizations that advocate around the budget for disability justice and disability rights. And I would encourage you then just to plug into their efforts, whatever they're working on, whatever they want you to tell me about. That's, that's good enough. So I'll
Do you
stop.
have any of this in writing, or is there a specific place on your website that lists all of these initiatives and bills
I
and
have the
laws?
bills that I filed on my website, but I can send you something else, Myra. I can send you a document that a staff member put together for me in preparation for today's meeting that has all the bills,
Oh,
not just
wow.
as I filed. They're all, I hate to say it, they're kind of Mindy centric, right? They're either the bills I filed, I co-filed, or I co-sponsored. Um, so they're not all the bills in the building, but there are a lot of them. And I think they'll probably be helpful. They're not about budget, though. This is about legislation.
Right. Okay.
I can send you that.
Okay.
I'll send it in words so you can manipulate it in any way.
That's fabulous. Yeah, thank you. I sent you a list of things that we obviously can't deal with now. But they are, um, some of them actually are not budget. Some of them are legislation. And a lot of it has to do with the safety of streets. Um, Bicyclists have become, um, a problem for a lot of pedestrians and certainly a lot of visually impaired people, because they don't obey the law. And there are people who are actually documenting this with filming, intersections and bicyclists. And the people have come up with just astounding responses to the fact that people who are riding bikes on streets often don't obey the law. And it's a problem because if you need to have people obey the law so you can get where you need to get, if you walk too slowly, if you can't get out of the way, if you can't see them coming or hear them coming, if you know, there are lots of things that are involved, including these floating bus stop islands. Have you seen them in Boston? They put the bus stop in the middle of the road, and there's a bike lane between the actual sidewalk and where the bus goes. So you have to cross a bike lane in order to get to a bus stop from the sidewalk. And all of those things are pretty dangerous. Um, and I don't know how one goes about stopping any of that or enforcing or creating laws that force bicyclists to obey the rules of the road. When people drive cars, they have to obey them. But when they drive bikes, I think they don't. And so I don't know if there are any rules that can be, anything that can be legislated that makes it clear um, that bicyclists are no different than motorists when it comes to the rules of the road.
Well, I'm not sure legislation actually needs to be done for that. That may already be the case and people just aren't paying attention or enforcing it. The enforcement is a local matter.
Okay.
And I still think that even um, sort of creating the situation that could be enforced would be a local matter. I'm not so sure it would be a state matter unless it's on state roads. So in, Amherst, that's like Route 9 and
116. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not College Street or Middle Street or any of those. Um, so I'm not sure. I think it might be worthwhile, Myra, this is just a suggestion, and Pamela may know to do much better than me around navigating the commission world. But I saw that there's a new, um, I think it's either a commission or a task force being set up by the town on transportation.
Yep.
That
Yeah,
may,
we have a
um,
representative.
yeah, that may be a conversation to bring to that group is how can, because I know that group is probably also, very much in support and doing a lot of bringing a
Yep.
lot of benefit to the bicycle community. So they may also be able to weigh in with what would be good for them and create a consensus on how to move forward on that.
Yep. But that's local, and I was hoping it would be more than local. So that's
Right.
why I brought it to your
Also, you
attention.
had mentioned in the email to me about the RTAs, and
Yeah.
it's funny that you think that, well, not funny, but I did find it curious that you thought it would be more effective to have one to consolidate the RTAs rather than to continue to have them be local and because I think one of the things I found with the state is sometimes when consolidation happens, it's not so great. It's better to keep it local. But in Amherst, we have this unique situation because we have the PVTA, but we really have UMass Transit, right? So I'm a PVTA advocate and I will fight for them to get all the money and I fight for them to get their pilot programs. But really, in Amherst, we already have fare free rides. We have a lot of the things that communities are struggling for across the state. But just so that you know, they do have new pilot routes that cross counties. That was a state law and state money for it, that we allowed regional transit authorities to create these pilot routes that cross counties particularly for people out like in Western Mass, whether it be the Berkshires to Hampshire County, or more importantly, I think for Amherst to Hamden County or Amherst to Greenfield.
There's an Amherst to Worcester, and there will be an Amherst or Northampton to Pittsfield.
And there will be also an Amherst to Greenfield. So that
Ah,
those are good innovations.
but they're very infrequent. And if you're using paratransit, it's a big problem because you cannot go from anywhere in the PVTA to Greenfield without getting off the bus, switching to, being at a transfer point, and then being picked up by a Franklin Regional Transit. Now, there are many RTAs in the state that don't even have any transfer points to adjacent RTAs, which is really a problem. But for ours, I mean, the Greenfield to Amherst is sort of arbitrarily different from Amherst to Springfield. There's no reason for it. It's all one valley, and people like to go, you know, people go north from here, people go south from here, but there isn't any way to get a paratransit from Amherst that goes directly into Franklin County without
So my
going at
suggestion on
that
this is
point.
those pilot programs were funded by a budget a couple of years ago through fair share funds. So my suggestion to you is that this commission maybe connect up with the commissions that dot the towns in Franklin County that would be along that route. Maybe try to build a coalition among
Uh-huh. Okay, good
and then,
idea.
we'll continue to meet on it. But I
Okay,
think we can't, this is the kind of thing that one place wanting it isn't going to happen. But if we can demonstrate that this is a need across communities, I think we'll be in better shape.
cool. Okay. Thank you. Does anybody have anything else that they really want to say to Mindy before we finish today?
Thank
Oh,
you
thanks for
so much
coming.
for your work. you're doing, Mindy.
Thank you. Thank you so much for
Oh,
inviting me. Please invite me back. I'm happy to give you an update on whatever basis makes sense for you in terms of your work. And I also look forward to you telling me what you want me to do in the future. Okay?
Great, thank you.
terrific. Thank you so much for coming,
Of course.
and we really appreciate your time
Thank
and
you. I'll
your
send you a list
expertise
of all those
and your
bills.
advocacy.
Thank you so much. Have a
All
good
right.
day, buddy.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.
Okay. Do we have our architect firm representative?
Yes.
You're
We-
back. Okay.
Yes, we're back. We're here. That was an interesting conversation. I'm glad we hung on. So I'm Ellen Anceloni. I'm a principal at Feingold Alexander. We have met a few of you before because we have been before this commission.
Yep.
And we are back today. I'm here with Josephine Penta and Grant Rocco, and we are here about a historic vestibule on the Jones Library that we want to talk to you about because we're looking to get a variance with the state. So Josephine, I'm going to hand it over to you
Sure.
to explain this to the folks.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see some of you again. I think last time we met with you, we were looking at a variance for the stair. It's a historic stair in that main lobby. So this entry is actually pretty close to that stair. It's again at that main lobby entrance, and it's on Amity Street. And Grant is going to share some drawings that we could look at as we're talking through. And so the difficulty with the vestibule at this main entry is that per MAB, generally when you have two doors consecutively in a row in a vestibule setting such as this, you need 48 inches from the door in its open position to the door in front of it or surface in front of it. So we are just shy of that in this vestibule. And in order to achieve the 48 inches, we would need to move the interior wall of the vestibule. And the problem that is that's occurring here is that we have this historic um, entry lobby that we're trying to retain all of this millwork per Mass Historic Commission. And so we had intended on utilizing door operator. It's an automatic door operator. So I'm sure you've seen this on other vestibules, but it's a push button that's applied to somewhere in front of or next to the door. And the idea would be that when you press that door operator, that push button, both doors would open consecutively. That was our initial line of thinking and our approach to this situation. We will have to go for a variance per MAB to go about it this way. And so that is what this variance is for.
So, and I'm sure if folks don't know what we mean by the, pressing the button, it's an automatic operator, so it opens the door for you. So you don't have to fuss with opening it yourself. It will do it automatically once you hit that button. In some ways, it's easier than not having that because if we had the proper spacing, you would have to open both doors on your own. So we thought it was the better way to move forward with this project, but it's not allowed in the base code, and that's why we're seeking a variance for this.
What, the automatic opener isn't allowed because of the
It-
historical structure? Is that what you're saying?
No, they're saying per the Massachusetts MAB, it's not allowed because we don't have the distance
Distance, yeah.
Mhm.
between the doors. But
And there's,
go ahead, Josephine.
oh, sorry, there's no exception for the operator in a vestibule situation per MAB.
Right.
So
Can-
so what is the distance that you would be dealing with then? If it's not 48, what is it?
Can I make one suggestion, which is that you're relying a lot on visuals, but we have two members of the commission who have low or no vision. So if you could use a verbal description of the area, that would be really helpful. So,
Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, thanks for that, Pamela. So the The distance that we have, to your question, James, is 40 inches rather than 48 inches. So the clear distance when the interior door is open to the exterior door is 40 inches.
Okay.
So go ahead, Jim.
So
Yeah,
when you,
I'm
I just want to
assuming
say
there's
what,
another entry. Oh, go ahead. But
I just want to say, so this entrance, so I'm sure you've all been in the library. So right now, when you go in the front of Jones, in the front historic door, there are stairs. So our redesign of the front landscape will actually make this door accessible and it for a wheelchair or any other disability. So at the front door, there's a bigger landing for you to stand at or be in a wheelchair. In the idea is once you're at the front stoop, essentially, you hit the button and the both doors will open and you'll proceed in. Right now, if you go in, you have to go up a couple of steps and then open each door separately.
Mm. So this distance of 40 versus the what is required to be 48 inches, is
Yes.
it the distance between the outside door and the inside door?
Yeah.
So when
Yeah.
it automatically opens, then you don't have to worry about the door because you don't need to swing to the side to pull the door open. I think it's a great solution personally.
and there's
Why
another
why
accessible
does
entrance.
the why is it not in the rules to begin with? Why do they make you have two buttons if it's 48?
Well, it's not two buttons. It's in the base code. You can't rely upon an automatic operator if you are less than 48. So that's why we're going for the variance because we believe it's the better option
Yeah.
for folks.
The only problem I can foresee that might happen is during cold
Yep.
weather
Yep.
time when both doors open for a long time because there is from getting through one door through the second, it is extra time that might
Hmm.
require, and that might be a challenge for the heating system.
We just to follow that up, we have a heater right in the vestibule itself and right after the vestibule. So we do understand that yes, it's cold. It's cold here in Massachusetts, and that's one of the things. That is one of the drawbacks, but we think the pro outweighs the con on this because we do believe it's an easier way for folks to get in.
So you're going to have like a hot air curtain,
Sure,
like
yeah, yep, essentially that.
Mm.
the most comfortable place in Stop and Shop is right there between the two doors. Um,
Josephine, anything else you wanted to add to that about the description?
Um, I don't think so. I mean, it's a good point that Ellen raised is that the front entry now will be accessible as it's not currently. So we do have two paths to the front door and a much larger space in front of the front door. And I think, Jim, you had mentioned, or you were going to mention something about another entry being
Yeah,
accessible, which it is at the garden
because at
level.
some point those doors will not work. That is a given. Um,
ah,
Anybody who uses
okay.
a wheelchair and tries to and depends on elevators or as Seren well knows or doors to open, that doesn't always happen. So something that you need a backup, obviously. So
Mhm.
So what would the backup be?
The side door.
No, the side
Oh,
door
have
is no
another entrance
longer.
they have.
The other entrance is at on the garden level, Josephine, as you
in
described,
the
which is
parking lot, Saren, in the back.
in the back.
It's
Oh,
it's it's
oh,
not remotely close to this entrance, so
oh.
it's actually very difficult to get from the front entrance to the other accessible entrance if it doesn't work. I don't even know how you get to it.
Well, there is an accessible path.
There will be. Okay.
There is accessibility down that driveway to the back door.
What happened to the door that used to be the one I personally use all the
They
time?
took it
It's
out.
right, it's been
It's,
reprogrammed.
oh, really? That's
Yeah.
gone. Oh my God, I didn't realize that.
But I can, you know, just to remind folks, the once the library is done, it is going to be 100% accessible to everybody. So it's a big improvement from what you currently have.
Except Jim pointed out that the doors don't work all the time,
That's right.
which
Well,
is true.
well, I think I can comment for the library. I know we know George and Sharon, and they're very dedicated to the patrons. And if the door is if it's not working, they'll get it fixed.
Yeah,
Yeah. And as long as there's another entrance,
they'll put it on their list.
the best you can do.
Yes.
The other entrance is, although it's just pretty far from the front entrance.
Yeah.
It is.
So, and there would have to be some indication that the door is out of order. I mean, that's really
Well,
operational. That's not
yeah.
structural,
No,
but
that's the matter. That's a matter of, you know, how the library functions. And
right.
you've all been there, and I think they Sharon runs a pretty tight ship and tries to keep it, you know, her patrons informed.
I have a question. When I enter from the front door and the doors are not working, the door openers, but I'm not alone. I'm together with my caregiver. So she manually
Yes,
open it?
absolutely.
Then the second inside door as well.
Correct.
Okay.
So the button is just to assist, though. It's just to it assists people to open the door,
Okay.
but it's not
But it can
required.
manually opened as well.
Yes, that's a good
Right.
point.
Yes. And we'll have them at the rear entrance as well, even though we have the distance there, because it's sometimes just convenience that folks want it at every entry.
Is there any precedent for this anywhere? Like, is the MAB likely to approve this if we don't object to it?
Yes, we
Think
believe.
so. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So this has been done before.
Yes, and it's the other part of the whole of the picture is the historic woodwork in the library, which we're trying to keep and keep as
Mhm.
much intact as we can. And that's where we're coming from with this. We'd rather not move that wooden detailed vestibule. We'd rather not move it because it would be quite a disruption to the historic
Yeah.
fabric.
Yeah.
I don't really see how you could move it. On the right side, you could, but on the left side, there isn't really a wall there.
That
Like,
we could move it. It would not be great because we'd have to modify a lot of things to get it to work. And that's why we're here. I mean, that's why we're looking for your support because I think, you know, you all not you all, some of you, since you're on the committee, you know what the population, the disabilities folks need.
I mean, this looks like a good solution to me. I mean, Cody, you're a wheelchair user, I think. I mean, how does it look to you?
Um, I'm not a wheelchair user,
My
but
bad. I apologize.
you're good. But when the doors heavy with historical buildings, they do tend to be heavier.
yeah,
Door openers
Mm.
are huge for me. So, but if, I agree, the batteries, like, runs out. So the concern of the not work is very real.
Josephine,
Um,
are these battery driven or are they hardwired?
I believe these are hardwired, but I'd have to
Yes.
double check to confirm.
So Cody, there's not a battery. It's on the electric system. So if something failed and say the building lost power, they wouldn't work. But there's not a battery that would have a battery life.
Mhm.
So this is always powered by the electricity.
Is
Also, I mean, losing power. I mean, yeah, I mean, you can't solve
Yeah.
everything.
no,
That's for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
but probably they might have a generator system that kicks in when
Or somebody
the
would help people open the door. I mean, if
and
people,
Right.
everybody's going to be leaving if the library has no power. So people
Mhm.
will hold the door. I mean, yeah, I think I think what Jim was referring to was not losing power as much as just the mechanism
Mhm.
breaking
doesn't
down.
Mm.
or weight of the door. But
The
is
weight of the door is a problem, and
yeah,
it's an incredible problem in so many places. Um, and I guess you have to, I mean, there are rules that make you have to make the door weigh the right amount, but that doesn't mean that they always do or that they don't change. How do you make the door operable? Because heavy door is a big problem. Those are big doors.
Right. They're big doors, but they're wood doors. I don't think they're particularly heavy myself, but that's just me because I'm not a big person. I do go to one place that takes two hands to open the door, so I understand that. But
Mhm.
with the door closer has adjustments on it depending on the weight of the door. So
Yep.
it'll it'll fix the problem of the door being too
Yeah.
heavy for some.
I it thought comes to my mind. Could there be a push button, like somebody comes to the front trying to enter the building, but the door is inoperable, and like I with my wheelchair, I'm there on my own. That's very unlikely, but due to my age. But could there be a button that I could push and somebody from
Oh,
inside?
like a bell,
Push for help.
Yes, or
like a
somebody
doorbell.
We would have to check
something.
that with Sharon and in her group in the library. But I think but keep in mind that we can look into that. We'll talk to Sharon about it. But this is a new building, new everything. So the chances of these not that it's new. So we can think, in 10 years, will there be some maintenance to them? Yes. They'll have
Yep.
to keep the maintenance up to keep them working, just like anything else. Just
Yep.
like anything else.
And a doorbell that I suggested is a really bad idea because every kid is going to ring it.
Oh,
Yeah.
And that'll, yeah,
that's
yeah.
true.
But if there's cameras there, Myra, the kids will not touch it.
Oh, yes, they will.
Wishful thinking.
Come on. It's been a while since you knew kids. Okay. Um, I mean, I think we need a motion about um the the variance. So what you need us to have as a motion is that we approve your request for a variance. Is that right? Not that we have any right to approve it. We
We
support
support it.
your
Support
You
it.
request.
support
Right.
us. Yes.
Yeah.
We
Mhm.
support your request for variance.
Yes.
Okay, somebody want to make that motion, please?
A motion to support the request for variance.
Great. Thank you, Cody. All right, we need a second.
I second that.
Okay.
Could I ask a question before the vote?
Yeah, discussion. Yep.
Okay, the rear entrance, there's a parking lot going to be there. There's a rear entrance. I'm just trying to imagine how most people with mobility impairments are going to approach the library. And I would guess that most of them would come in from the back entrance. Is that
There's no parking in the back. The
okay?
parking for handicap parking is adjacent to where this entrance is.
Okay.
But there's parking lot behind.
Not anymore.
Wait, they took out the whole,
Do you,
It's really for service now back there, and we've provided the parking on adjacent to the door.
which parking lot, Myra, were you referring to?
isn't there a parking lot behind the library?
At CVS lot?
Yeah.
Yeah,
CVS.
there used to be.
No, there still
Yes.
is. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're not. Yeah, we won't be touching that. That remains as it is.
I thought you were saying if we had parking on our site.
No,
Okay.
no, but I
Sorry,
mean,
I
I'm trying to
misunderstood.
figure out where are the patrons of the library going to have, they usually park across the street from the library, across Amity Street.
Mhm.
So probably the front door is going to be the most used entrance,
That's what we
except for the
anticipate.
community rooms in the back, right?
Mhm.
What happened to the parking places on the
Driveway.
There is
on the
still
driveway?
but we have them there, but they're closer to the door now, so it's a better situation.
Mhm.
Wow.
How many parking spaces do you have on the driveway?
I want to say 7 or 8, but I would have to double check.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Are they all going to be handicap parking? No, right?
No, of course not.
no,
No,
A percentage. I don't know what that is off the top of my head. Do you,
probably
Josephine?
one
it's like
on 8.
2.
No, not one. More than one.
There's
Okay,
2 handicap spots.
okay.
Wow. I learned something new today that the side entrance, which I thought was really great, close to the parking space and everything, is no longer going to exist. That is kind of disappointing to
Well,
me.
you'll have a nicer entrance at the front door because it will be a bigger, it'll be nice. It'll all nicely landscaped.
There's going to be a big path across
Yes.
from the driveway to the door. We talked about this the last time.
And
I
there'll
think
be
we
yellow
gave
brick.
you a hard time the last time about it also.
No, you didn't give us a hard time. We just want to be sure, I think we're respecting everybody's needs, and that's what we came here for, to, get your support on the variance.
Thank you.
Are we ready to vote on the motion to support? Anybody have anything else to say? Okay, all in favor of the motion to support the request for variance for the door opener, please say yes.
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 Pamela
Yes.
and Myra. So there 6 of us voted yes. So there aren't any people left to vote no. So it seems like we have approved your request to support your request for variance, and good luck.
Thank you for your time, and always nice to be with this group.
So
Well,
just before you leave, in the past, I've prepared just a short letter and
right.
emailed it
Yep.
to you, which I will try to get done. It won't be today but I'll try to get it to you tomorrow.
That was my next question. Thank you, Pamela.
Yeah. All right. Great. Thank you.
Thank
She's a
you,
great
everyone.
secretary. That's the job she got stuck with. Okay.
Thank
Thank
you
you
all.
very much.
All
All
right,
right,
thank you,
take
Okay.
everyone.
All
care.
right.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.
All
So,
right. So Amy is here to talk
yes.
about. Hello, Amy.
Hello.
Hi, you're going to talk about snow and ice removal. This is the first year we didn't send the letter that we have about snow and ice removal. So do you want to talk to us about who's responsible for what is done when people who are responsible don't do it, and where we might go, because apparently Northampton's doing a little bit better job of cleaning up than Amherst is, so we need to know why.
Okay. First, some of you guys I haven't met, so just say hi. So, like Pamela said, I'm Amy Rozecki, and I'm the Assistant Superintendent of Public Works. And so, you guys might have heard from Guilford at times over the years. Guilford is my boss, so I'm kind of Guilford Junior here. So, nice to meet you guys, and it's actually been really interesting and informative to hear some of the conversation. Just to kind of just to kind of hear the thoughts of members of the community. So, yeah, so snow and ice removal. The way that we do it in Amherst is every single property owner is responsible to maintain the sidewalk in front of their property clear and free of snow, ice. The bylaw, I think, also goes into actually like vegetation. So that also means when in the summer, there's also at times vegetation that impedes the ability to use some of the sidewalks. So all of that is the responsibility of the property owner that that the sidewalk is in front of. Um, you guys are with me so far on that?
Yep.
Okay. And so what the town of Amherst does do, the town of Amherst is also a property owner in several places across town. We've got conservation land, we've got, parks facilities, we have a lot of municipal buildings. And so the town of Amherst does clear sidewalks. We are responsible for the sidewalks in front of the property that we own. And what we have done um, over the years, there is a segment of town where if we are going to a property that we own and there is a sidewalk between, like, say, two pieces of town-owned property, we're going to continue to clear the sidewalk between the two places that we are responsible for the sidewalks. And so a lot of the, as people are talking about the sidewalks that the town does, and I use air quotes when I say that, but the sidewalks that the town does, a lot of times those are the places that are just in between a couple of town-owned parcels that we do. The important thing to note, though, is a road being on like our plow list, it doesn't absolve the property owner from maintaining it. It is not taking responsibility from the property owner who owns it and putting it on the town. The town, sometimes does a courtesy pass on our way to something that we were going to do anyway. And so it is the property owner's responsibility to keep those clear. And there's a snow and ice bylaw, which Pamela, I don't know if you've shared that, but I'm kind of just quoting or summarizing that bylaw, but certainly we can share that. Um,
Can you remind us who the enforcement is, who's responsible for the enforcement?
sure. So if people are not doing what they need to do, what you do is you would fill out I guess the form that I know is an online form, so it's the property complaint form, or you can call inspection services, and it's the inspection services folks that will issue a letter. There is a fine. I don't think that they try to avoid going to the fine. I think a lot of times it's they're going to send a letter or go out and talk to a property owner, and only if they continue to not address the issue will they look at fining. But the bylaw does allow a $50 penalty per 24-hour period that somebody doesn't take care of it.
Okay. Does anyone on the commission want to raise any particular issues?
Can I raise one concern from prior years when I used to drive more around the town? They used to use the town plowing people used to use one of the HP places as a place to dump the snow. And it would be like mountains of snow, which will not melt away until April, probably. So I don't know. I must have addressed this before, I'm very sure. At least that happened at the Banks Community Center. On one of the HP places was always um, piled with snow. So That is a big concern because of the limited HP places, so that
Yep.
it should be made sure that all HP places are very nicely plowed out. My concern.
Yeah, no, I 100% hear you. While you were saying that, I was just pulling up. We do have um we have maps for the person that does that to specifically tell him. So I was just flipping through to confirm that they aren't any of the accessible spaces that is the place where they dump the snow.
Yeah.
But certainly I will make sure to revisit it. I don't believe that's where we have designated the snowdrops, but I'm gonna just make sure.
You know,
I know
they can.
we've only had a couple of storms this year,
Yeah,
so
yeah, I know.
I'm
We
not sure
can.
if we know that if there's a problem this year. We do have a new person doing the downtown parking lots this winter as opposed to the last few winters, and so that reminder is
Good.
great timing. Appreciate that.
And there are much more regular parking places. They could use one of those
Right.
to pile the
Yep.
snow. So
Yep.
So whose
No,
job is it to clear the HP spaces in a privately owned lot?
that would be the property owner of that lot.
Okay, so I guess
they could do that.
um, I guess what we really need is some kind of a communication from the town
Mhm.
that reminds the property owners of their responsibilities because the town doesn't own all the parking lots. Um, and the
Yeah.
town, some of the HP spaces, they might be on a street, but they would be in front of a business. I assume if they're on a street, that's town property. So the town will have to clear those.
They used to do
Correct.
that thing I'm talking about. The snow being dumped to HP places. I remember witnessing that in Bertucci's many, many years ago.
Okay.
So
Um,
It,
the private property, private parking lot. So maybe some kind of a communication that it is very important to keep all HP places clear of snow.
so what's the best place to do that? I mean, you can put it on the website. Um, there should be a statement on the website about
right.
homeowners and property owners' responsibilities. I mean, it would seem like it should be pretty prominent on the website right now. But other than the website, where else would you do it? I've actually
Remember,
heard little spots on 22 or 40, it's like, but I don't know that we would. How do they do that, Pamela? Do you know?
So I'm not sure, but it occurs to me that maybe one thing that the commission might consider is like a joint initiative with inspections. So I mean, the town has the ability to do mass mailings. So you could partner with inspections and in the fall simply do a mass mailing out um, to remind people of their obligation, individuals and property and businesses, right, of their obligations. So it could go out as a notice, and I'd have to check with the clerk's office to find out when the schedule for that, because they have a certain schedule where there are certain things that are mass
Well, they
mailings.
send tax bills.
Right. But there are some
People
other
love
mass,
those.
yeah, some other mass mailing opportunities where we might seek to do it on our own, but um that might be something that you might consider with inspections.
how about
Um
chamber?
Yeah.
Chamber of Commerce.
certainly the sharing the information with the chamber, but I think there if you joined with inspections, then you're doing both a public service and you're are
Notice.
indicating sort of the I want to say penalty side of this equation,
Right. It's
right?
like a notice.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'd like
I,
to encourage you to adhere to the bylaw and for the various reasons and make you aware that repeated violators can be fined by the inspection department of the town.
That's a really good idea. Is it too late to do that now? By the time we got it out, it would be spring probably.
Right. I think it might be too late to do this year, but I could make an inquiry to Rob Moore or to our planning department or to the inspection department to see, because I believe Rob is the supervisor for inspections.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's a very good idea about how to do it.
mhm,
Because it would seem to me it's nice to have a bylaw, and we do have a bylaw, but things change so quickly around here. It's a transient town.
mhm.
Even the businesses are transient, and then the owner is off site and the manager doesn't know. And, they don't have mechanisms within their own business to make sure who's going to do it. So, has there been a place that you have noticed this winter is particularly problematic from the commission? Does anybody have any particular?
Yeah, I do. So I live right, this is Reggie. I live right in the
Yeah.
center of town of Amherst. And so for years, the mobile gas station does not plow in front of their business.
Huh.
The
You mean
sidewalk.
the sidewalk there?
Yes, the sidewalk. Yes.
Interesting. Okay. Is the mobile gas station still open? It is, right?
Yes.
Okay. Um, well, I mean, they've been here forever. They should know better. Um, so are you saying that Amy, are you saying
Yeah.
that what would be the appropriate mechanism for Reg to use in order to complain about that?
So frankly, I would say there's probably three different ways that you can do that. One, there's the property complaint form, which is linked. We do have, and Pamela, I can send you a link so that you can include it in the notes. You guys were talking about like kind of public messaging about some of this. So we do have, um, on the public works page, we do have snow and ice and then sidewalk removal as a couple, a couple of different pages. So on the sidewalk snow removal page, we do talk about this a little bit. And so that's where we have linked the property complaint form. I think you can also find that on the inspection services page. I think an email just the public, to the inspection services will also work. I suspect also if you just send an email to the town manager's office, it's going to get to the right person. So if email is your preferred method, or you can also call the phone number. It's listed here. It's 413-259-3030. And I believe that's just the main line to the inspections department. So those are kind of the three different ways that you can report these things. Um, and then I want to jump back. You guys were talking a little bit about the messaging, and I think um, all great ideas that you guys came up with. We do typically send out an email reminder and kind of do a news blast on the website ahead of the winter, just trying to remind everyone as property owners what their responsibility is. But I love you guys thinking about other ways to reach people to make sure that they know. I will say the bylaw is talking specifically about, the sidewalks and public way. And some of the things you guys have talked about is some of these private parking lots. And so I think that's something that isn't addressed, at least in the
Ah,
bylaw that I'm looking at here. And so that might be something to talk about or consider. And I think if I were approaching it, I might think, even just for right now, think about maybe if you guys draft up something and send it. We've got the bid and we've got the chamber who are in touch with a lot of these businesses. And that might be at least a good start to a conversation. But you might want to just look at if there isn't a bylaw that talks about making sure that they're not piling snow on the accessible spaces in private parking lots. That's probably something you guys might want to think about, having a conversation or trying to move forward.
this is where we need a liaison to the town council, right? Because they
Right.
have all those subcommittees that would
Right.
have to come up with
Right.
something in the bylaw.
But I
Okay,
wonder if like isn't I don't know if this would necessarily fall under like TSO, and Pamela, you might know, but potentially you guys, if you guys come up with an idea that you want to pursue, seeing if you can get on the agenda for a TSO meeting, and that's when you can talk to the town councilors and advocate for
yep,
something.
Right.
Yeah.
So I
yep.
so
Or
I
the new commission, the
yeah, so
parking.
I definitely think it would be under the new commission, but I
Yeah,
just quickly did a Google search because I believe that even though we're talking about privately held parking lots, that they are by definition considered public ways because of access. So I think the legal definition of what would um, be included as a public way, I'm like, this is just this like private land, like a mall or gas stations, if the public is invited as a customer or a licensee. So in the example that Sarah was talking about, Bertucci's, where the old Bertucci's used to be, there are businesses around there, and the public is invited to utilize that space to access to the businesses. So
Mm.
even though the parking lot is privately owned, I would argue that it would be considered a public way because the public is invited to use it.
Mm.
And that would be the same for, you know, the example I was sort of thinking about. So we have the fire station in with private businesses on either side of it. The town probably might clear the sidewalk in front of the uh, of the main fire station downtown. Like legally, we're probably wouldn't be required to clean the sidewalk on either side of the fire station. And I don't know if DPW does, but that entire strip of sidewalk is considered a public, would be considered public way. So,
but the property owners
right,
are
right.
have
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
it.
yeah,
So the parking lot at Garcia's, which is now what
yeah,
Bertucci,
yeah,
yeah. So
right.
the parking lot at Garcia's would have to be cleared by Garcia's or
Yes,
by, okay. So
it
when you
would be,
say public way,
well, because the bylaw uses the term public way, but public way is not just limited to things that are under the government
got it. Okay.
control, right? It can be
So
public
even
way
if
can
it's privately owned
owned, right,
as a public accommodation, like a
right,
public, yeah, okay.
right,
So
yeah.
what about the space behind Zena? Is that
Uh,
considered public way?
so I would say I would make the argument that yes, because you have businesses that have, and I don't know, that are inviting members of the public to utilize that spaces to
Reg,
access
do they clean
those.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I live right behind Xana's, those
Yeah.
apartment complexes, and yes, they do a very, very good job in cleaning that lot every
Okay.
single time. No issues at all.
Okay.
Great.
But we
Great.
don't know who they are. The they is probably the property owners, not the town, right? It's
Yeah,
not the
most
Correct.
town.
likely it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
like Joe, probably most likely Jones property people.
right. Exactly. Yeah. But
Okay. So
So
they,
I have a related question along these lines. I mean, when we talk about crosswalks, I mean, clearly, the crosswalks themselves are always going to be cleared by the town. I think the further you get away from town center, then the more likely sometimes the plows simply kick up stuff into the entryways
exactly.
with the crosswalks. And I
I've
don't know
climbed
who's
through 3 feet of
responsible
snow myself.
for those.
Good point. Now, how do they do that? That's a
Oh,
really good question.
So
um,
who is responsible for that?
Right.
I don't know that I know the exact answer to that. That's a good one. Um, so I will ask, and I guess Pamela, I'm assuming we can
yeah,
get you an answer through that.
right. And I actually, it's sad to say, but I think as a homeowner, I mean, you clear your driveway and then the plow truck goes by and you have all that snow back in your driveway. And I think the reality is sadly, the property owner is still is still responsible, even though the snow has been pushed up onto the sidewalk or the driveway by, by a snowplow.
Yeah,
Um,
crosswalk strikes me as a different animal, though.
right, right.
Yeah, I
I,
mean, the bylaw says, that it's the purpose is to assure all travelers, including those with disabilities or mobility impairments, safe and convenient access to sidewalks, abutting curb cuts, curb ramps, public ways, and public parking places. And then it goes into removal of snow and ice and other. Um, so I think that puts it on the actual property owner. I think our guys do a lot of shoveling in the downtown corridor to try to ensure that that is kept clear, but on the outlying routes, um, again, like as a courtesy, I think we do a lot in that downtown area. I don't know that we do as much on the outlying routes. No, nor is it legally our responsibility, but at least the downtown area, I think we do some of that.
The part of town that I live in, the schools own a lot of that property, and they used to. I don't know if they're still doing it. Haven't walked through there in a long time, but they used to dump all the snow in the path of travel.
Mm.
Um, at the end of the parking lot at the middle school, and yeah, it was always a big problem. But that's the regional schools. That's not the town of Amherst, so that's a whole different ball of wax.
Just as
Okay.
if we see some violation
Mhm.
and we can take a picture, would it be efficient to send it to the public works, or I don't know where, to announce, to let them know, officials know, so they can go after, just like HP places. Jim was telling me something that used to be done, but one of the staff members at Stavros years ago was to make enforce that everybody stays within HP places, are legitimate users, and if we saw some violation, we would take a picture and we would send it. But now send it to where? If that could be clarified, maybe that, and maybe there could be some fines for that, just like illegal parking in HP places, which could go to support the budget we're talking about for our commission.
Well, this is maybe what one of the things that should go to that parking uh, commission that Ian is on, and I do think we need an alternate. But I think that is something that's I mean, I think that's perfect for them actually. So,
So for now, any of these concerns with the bylaw, which I like Pamela's, interpretation of a public way. So that would mean, I mean, basically any violation of the bylaw, that goes to inspection services. So again, that would be, you could either
Yes, sir.
fill out that complaint form, you could call them, 259-3030, or it could be an email to them. I mean, if you send an email to publicworks@amherstma.gov, what I'm going to do is just, forward it up to them. Um, and I'm sure the town manager's office as well. Like it will make it to them,
and you could
as
attach a
long as,
picture that
and
way.
if you attach a picture, that's even better.
Yeah.
But certainly not required. Um, you know, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for Amy?
Oh, one other question, Myra.
Yep.
We did a check on the parking. Pamela will remember. Uh, Guilford, Pamela, and me. We were
Yeah.
at the back of the back parking lot behind the town hall, and then we thought of like lights that will come on when there is a need, like sensor lights. Pamela, do you remember? And Guilford said, "Oh, that's simple to do. We could do that." I
yeah.
wonder where we are with that.
So I think we'd have to, unless um, Guilford has given you any information. I think we have to follow up with him
Yeah.
on that. So,
So since Amy said that she is the right hand of Guilford,
yeah.
maybe it could
Yeah.
just, we are watching.
Yes,
So we want you to
I
remind Guilford about the
Yes.
lighting behind Town Hall.
Yeah. And he said that was very
And
simple.
he liked the idea.
Yeah, he did. He
He was
did.
there.
it is just very dark and secluded back there. I
I
understand.
know, I know. And
I will certainly, like you guys said, that is a question for Guilford. But I will just kind of poke him with that, just to kind of get it back to the forefront of his mind.
just a
Um,
friendly reminder.
yes, absolutely.
Perfect. Okay, great. Thank you so much for coming. We have some ideas
Yeah.
and we this is great.
Yeah, it was
Thank
great to
you.
meet you guys, and thanks for your thoughts and conversation. This was great. Thank you.
All right.
Thank
All
you
right.
for your
Thanks.
All
patience.
right.
Yep.
Bye,
Yep.
Amy.
Yep.
All right. So the only thing left is the Worcester the restaurant letter about um how to how to welcome people with disabilities, really.
Yeah.
And I had asked Pamela earlier before the meeting started if she could send out, in order to make any changes she would have to make anyway, she would have to change it to a Word document. So if she could send us the Word document, I think it would be, at least from my perspective, a lot easier for me to work with it as a Word document because it's not easy for me to um, go through it the way it is as a PDF.
So I did receive, I did not receive a Word document, but I think I've received it in a format that can be converted to Word. I haven't done that yet, but I will try
Okay.
to have it converted to Word and send that out to the commission. And I
Or it could
just,
be RTF.
yeah,
That would be all right
right.
too.
Okay.
Yep.
So, but I did get the approval of their office, their equity office, for us to utilize it. They're thrilled that we're asking.
Thank you.
So that was good.
Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, that was easy. The other update that I have is that I did reach out to Jen LaFountain to inquire about what the status was of the parking fines. I sent her an email and I followed up with a phone call, and I have not gotten a response. It may be that she's busy. I know that, Sean Mangano and the accounting and finance department are working on budget. So I mean, she just may be, very busy with requirements for the budget that they're putting together, but I don't have an answer from her on that. And I just checked my email again to see if there was um, any additional information, and there wasn't. So I
Another
will.
thing for the parking commission, they should know that apparently there are towns that have a $300 fine. That's what they're allowed to do by law.
Mhm.
And there are many towns that have implemented it. We have not, to the best of my knowledge anyway. I thought it was 100 for the fines. So, and also, I'm not sure the police are actually even doing
Enforced.
very much
Yeah.
of that, but there are towns that are making a fair amount of money for their commissions by enforcing with fines the HP parking. And I don't know why we don't do that here, but that would be an interesting question. Is it a policy or is it just that the police don't want to do it? I don't know.
They have a kind heart.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think what I would suggest is that we'll reach out to Jen and see what response I can get from her. And if
Yep.
the response is that there's been no money collected, then perhaps the commission would like to invite Gabe to
Yeah,
attend a meeting.
yeah.
As far as,
Perhaps.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. And I don't, I'm hoping that you all had a chance to read and approve the minutes. I don't know if
Yes, I did. Thank you. I wasn't even there, so it was great. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from December 9?
I motion to approve.
Thank you, Cody. I need a second.
A second.
Okay, Sarah seconded. Okay, is there any discussion about the minutes? Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes, please say yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm going to abstain because I wasn't present. So we have 5 yeses and 1 abstention. Okay. I guess I need a motion to adjourn. The next meeting would be February 10, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Could I make a note, though, that we did discuss at the December meeting the need for a new liaison to the town council.
Yeah.
And our guest that day was willing to do it, but that should certainly be a top item for the February meeting.
Pamela
So,
you answered for us, right? A little
right.
time ago?
I did answer. I received the memo and the email from Mandy Jo as the new town council president, and I did write to her indicating that we would that the commission would like a liaison. Um, so she's aware that the commission would like to have a liaison appointed, and we were on the list of the boards and committees that normally receive a liaison. So hopefully, um, Amber can or Martin or some other person will express an interest and will be appointed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else? All right, we need a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Okay, and a second?
A second.
Perfect. Okay. All not in favor of adjournment, say aye. Hearing nobody who doesn't want to adjourn, I think we're adjourned.
Okay.
All right. All
Thank
right.
you, everybody.
Thank you.
And may the streets be clean
Yes.
and may it only snow on the grass.
Thank you. All right.
All right.
Bye,
All right.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.